Oh, look at that. We are live on the SideQuest live on a fashionable Friday edition. We are going to have a great night tonight, friends. I am one of your hosts, Dali Demovsky. Hi. The person right over here is Pax knows him as the editor and host of the SideQuest podcast.
It's true. It's true. They do. And I make no promises about quality either.
There's no seal of approval. It's just
No, sir.
It's just a seal. It's just
That is my specialty.
This guy right up there, SideQuest.
Hey, my dog's jumping around.
Oh yes. And of course, the one, the only, Commissioner Gordon himself.
Yeah.
Windjammer's holder. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. How you guys doing?
Amazing.
I'm doing great.
Great.
Well, as great as I can be.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's a Friday. You just got home from work,
Yeah.
JJ, so you're tired. You're like running into the door, throwing your headphones on. It's like, oh, we gotta start the podcast. And meanwhile, Dali's not even anywhere in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
The typical time. We have a great show, really great show tonight. We have a lot to talk about. The big topics, obviously. Here we go. Stefan's already starting. Decided to come and see you all die at Elden Ring.
Oh, you're not gonna. You're not gonna see me die, no, man. I ain't streaming shit. Don't.
You can, if you're on the Discord, you can watch that guy up there. He's streaming Elden Ring.
I stopped. I got to a point. I was like,
Yeah, good show. We're gonna start off with a little bit of news first, but then we're gonna dive into big discussions about this guy.
The Switch.
It's the N-Gage. And
can't believe they released the Switch 2 already.
No, they didn't. No, this is a second. No, and Elden Ring, which are going to be big, and then we got other games we're going to talk about too. So, but
you guys told me this is going to be about Batman.
It's going to be.
We're
going to start.
Yeah, we mentioned Batman, and then we moved on. You're welcome.
The post-credit scene. No. Anyways, yeah. Two of us saw
Batman tomorrow. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Yes. So. Me and Dali saw it.
Cool. Everyone dies.
Yeah, it's weird.
Heads up.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah. It's really interesting choice to make Batman nude from the waist down the entire movie.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate it. It was whatever.
It's a different take, but I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Pattinson hangs dong like Batman did in that one.
Dali has turned immediately into the OBS logo.
What is? Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know what is going on with this stupid camera. I have it plugged in through a different type of USB connection. But you guys can hear me at least, right?
Gabe, yes. Gabe saw your notepad and.
All right, you're gonna see me switch in a second here, so you might not hear me for a second.
I just couldn't help but notice that the blur on my camera is oddly focused over in this over here. No, that is one of my daughter's gifts from her first birthday. It's a fake remote control. I don't know exactly what about the AI algorithm for NVIDIA broadcast really struck it, but it was just lighting it up from a million miles away.
Love it.
Wanted to get out of the way.
Jeez, Dali coming to us live from a tanning booth.
Yeah, good lord. I'm gonna be changing. I don't know what's going on here. Let me stop the camera for a second. Good lord. Let's start off with some news. Yeah. Start off with some news. There's a lot of news this week. You want to start off with the Activision stuff because it's definitely our favorite topic. It's always start off with the light note.
Yeah, how could we not talk about the next lawsuit for Activision?
Yeah.
Think about how much Activision is really worth to have Microsoft still be willing to take on all of this.
Yeah. So I mean, for people who don't know, the lady who committed suicide on a business trip, her family is looking for. Well, they're going to press charges. which is good for them. But yeah,
that just for anybody that's unaware, this was something that happened back in 2017 during the events of a company retreat, where according to the deposition in her family, sexual harassment from the company was a big part of, or a big contributing factor for her suicide. So
horrible.
But anyway, so the family is citing it. I'm sure that the many other problems that have been outlined have not helped or has helped make this an easier lawsuit to put forward. And something that broke even more recently is that Activision, or the CEO Bobby Kotick, is leaving the Coca-Cola board.
No!
Which I know everybody is dropping their Coca-Cola stocks, very like hot rocks right now. But I don't know. I typed in Activision because I was like wanted to remind myself about this story, and literally every headline is just about him leaving the Coca-Cola's board before the Microsoft deal closes, as if that's indicative of something. I don't know. Maybe Kotick's retiring, and that's what we can glean from this. Who knows?
Maybe he has money that's tied with the Russians, like the Kentucky governors do.
Maybe, man. Considering how much we found out that he donated to GOP candidates. Anyway, this is not a political show.
Completely apolitical.
What else? We got anything? We got anything else?
There was a little bit. I know Taylor's favorite subject is Pokemon.
Oh yeah. Please do go into as much detail as possible immediately.
So Pokemon Unite. Let's talk about this. No, just kidding. They did a sort of subdued Pokemon Presents announcement this weekend. They only announced
for the next gen.
Yeah, they only announced it in Japan. You didn't think I was actually going to talk Arceus, did you? Come on, dude.
No, I literally, honestly, what happened, the announcement for the next gen was so muted that I forgot that it was this past week, if you want me to be perfectly honest.
That was on purpose. Nintendo, Pokemon Company put out a statement that said, we, in light of the world events, we didn't want to do anything big. And so that's why you did not see it promoted in the UK or the US. It was just the Japanese stream or the Japanese tweet. Literally, that was it. It wasn't even on their website, and then they went live with it. Anyways, they announced a bunch of stuff. The big one was, of course, that Pokemon Arceus, or Pokemon Legends Arceus, is not the next gen of Pokemon. It is actually a new gen. Gen 9 is launching this year. At the end of this year, you got Scarlet and Violet,
which is kind of crazy, actually. I mean, timing wise, is kind of nutty.
It's kind of
guys in the closet working hard.
It's not going to get delayed because they really just don't delay Pokemon games. Because why should they? They don't do any work on them. So here they go.
Play a Pokemon game? Why?
It's interesting. This is set in sort of a Spain/Italy type of area. They're billing it as the first seamless open world, and they made a point to say open world Pokemon game, where you just walk across the entire world and you go into and out of towns and go from there, as opposed to, a lot of us thought that Pokemon Legends was going to be open world because of just a trailer. And, typical of us gamers, we put our thoughts on something and then we get let down when it's not exactly what we thought it was going to be, even though the company never says it. But in this case, they're flat out saying this is an open world ass Pokemon game.
You have to be a little worried about what Game Freak thinks open world means.
Because I mean, technically every Pokemon game's open world.
Pokemon, you can go everywhere in Red and Blue. If it's in the map, you can pretty much go there.
I think we might have gotten it backwards, because how we were saying, maybe like Arceus is going to be the future of the series, but I think Arceus was just a beta test for what they're going to do. I think that's what actually happened. I think the game looks good. Like, I'm actually shocked. Like, obviously there's Jaggies and it looks rough.
Those are my favorite enemies in Monster Hunter.
God, the resolution just makes it look so bad.
There's an art style at least, which is like good. Like I like the general aesthetic. I'm a fan of what it is, so I'm excited to see what this one turns out to be. I liked how the main characters look. I think they look really like cute, and just want to see how that plays out. So, and the starters look awesome too.
Yeah, it's a Pokemon game. I'll buy it day one. I'll play it through to completion. I am not apologetic over my love of playing Pokemon games. So I'm excited for the Apple Dragon. So
it's funny because it's not neither apple nor dragon. It's like it's a chili pepper gator.
Yeah,
well, there's already an apple dragon in Sword and Shield.
There is.
By the way, when this video started, I thought, oh, Detective Pikachu 2.
Yeah,
that's what everyone thought. Yeah.
But it ain't.
Which would be cool.
This room here, and then
this is a lot of time in a trailer dedicated to not the video game.
I also
over a minute.
Try to zoom out to as much as The Office as you can. Rewind to because it's very funny to think like that really is like Game Freak. It's like there's like 4 desks in there.
This is the dev team. This is their office.
they've been locked in.
All right, quick! Look at this is the whole Pokemon office, by the way.
I mean, this trailer even calls it Game Freak, so this is just Game
it's
Freak.
true. There's the sign for Game Freak. Oh goodness, there it is. That's your Pokemon
Bad
office.
lighting, drafting tables.
No wonder Arceus looked like the way it did because it was all done in the dark.
Dude, the actual audacity of this team to like put these screenshots blown up on their website as the background image. It is crazy.
It's nutty. This is what I was talking about. This is what I meant when I was talking about the resolution. It's not that it looks bad, especially it doesn't look bad on a Switch screen. What it does look bad is when you're like, throw me a 1080p render and then I'm going to put it onto like a 2K or a 4K screen. It's like, it don't look good because it's not meant to be shown at this resolution. It's just not. Or at the very, I don't know. It's actually kind of weird how unwilling Game Freak is to kind of play the system and make higher quality screenshot renders and put those out there as promo material.
Right.
Because nobody's ever going to see it not like that because they're going to play it on their Switch screen and it's not going to look like that. Like, it's just weird that they don't make better use of promo material
there's
stuff.
There's the school LED right there. Wow, and then it goes back to real life.
Anyway,
there's the
it's my most recent rant.
Starters right there. There's the Apple Dragon.
What's the implication with this live action stuff that the
no implication. Don't think about it. No, you've literally already thought too much about it.
They've disappeared into.
They disappeared like Taylor.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just Japan. They love doing like and Dali. But no, it's like they love doing these like live action things. That's just
I think they just like it.
So,
because like even back in the day, the Pocket Monster stuff was the idea that like you were closer to the game because it was on the go with you. So it's just kind of the same ethos of the old advertisements.
Here's Stefan, as we call him, Mr. Optimistic. These graphics look so bad. Look at the end pieces.
Yeah, no, this is just a resolution problem where. Like I said, a lot of other devs make use of this stuff, which is using higher render and specific stuff for promo material, and it's just really weird that Game Freak doesn't do it. Like I said, the vast majority of people are playing this on a Switch screen where they're not going to be doing pixel-to-pixel comparisons of the images anyway, so you should probably render them out at higher with more anti-aliasing and at higher render rates and stuff like that. It's just kind of weird that Game Freak doesn't do it.
Yeah.
More than anything else. Anyway.
Yeah, but are the teeth realistic? Have you guys seen that?
Who gives a shit about the teeth, man?
Have you guys seen that? There's this like Horizon.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, there's this Horizon Zero Dawn comparison tweet, and it's like, look at the teeth on the PS5. It's like her teeth are like rounded. They look normal, and like
Yeah, I mean, this is just like the
crazy
women with facial hair shit all over again, man. I don't know how many times I can have that conversation.
Look, they rendered her teeth. Like that's just it. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the power of the PlayStation 5, cool.
Oh man.
It's anyways, it's
I will say it looks more interesting to me than Sword and Shield did, and it looks more interesting to me than Arceus did.
Yep.
I don't know if that means much considering my general feelings on the latest Pokemon games, but that's my take.
It's launching this year, which to me that's
Crazy.
It's crazy.
That part is crazy
because you have Xenoblade in likely September. It is September, right? I think they said they announced September.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna have Bayonetta 3 if that game's ever actually coming out in October. And then you got this coming out in November. Is there room for a Taylor got so pissed off, he said forget. Is there room for a Zelda game, Breath of the Wild 2 or something else? You know, because they're gonna have somebody kicked out and he's loading up. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I suddenly was on a different webpage. I don't know why.
We were saying, you know, it was Nintendo has a pretty stacked back end. I don't mean it that way, but but they have a
Pokemon is a huge mover. So like they just announced this. Mm-hmm. All the other stuff was already announced. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's usually it's a tentpole game. And it's weird to put the tentpole in after you laid the rest of the you had a bunch of supporting poles and then you're like, no, this is the bigger tentpole, we're putting it in the middle. Also, like, you had one of the tentpoles already this year. It's a little odd. Also, I like, even though the Diamond Pearl remake sold really well and the Arceus remake sold really well, of course they did, they're Pokemon games, there is still a rhetoric about, hey, doesn't it seem like the Pokemon quality is kind of declining? Like, that's still a narrative that's happening. And then to release the next Pokemon game so close after the other two is a little bit of an odd one to me.
Yeah,
but
nice. And Stefan says if they're going to be so tentpole alternate every other year, they do alternate. In fact, they had Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
1 year, and then they had the they actually took the year off after that, and then they had Diamond Pearl. Like, all last year was the year of Pokemon, Diamond Pearl, everything. Then this year it's Arc. Yeah, exactly. Yep, Snap 2. So they do have an alternating. I mean, it's a yearly franchise, but they're alternating now what those years. I wonder
what the discourse for Pokemon is in Japan. Like, I wonder how. I mean, but discourse-wise, because we know what the discourse is here. We know that there's how relatively down we are on it, but like, ideals are a little different over there. Yeah, I wonder if like they just like, fuck those Americans. What do they? What do they care? What do we care?
And it may be one of those things where our sensibilities are, you know, Arceus was the biggest or second biggest launch of a Pokemon game, something like that in Japan.
Yeah.
It's already got 7, 8, 9, probably closer to 8.5 million copies sold at this point. So in Japan, it is huge in Japan. It's a great question, and I don't know. Apparently, they do hear it. They do understand people are talking to them, because you had the I've been listening to the Kit and Krista show, which they used to be the Nintendo Minute folks. Great podcast. But they mentioned that the companies within Nintendo do listen to what folks are saying. They are abreast of it. Now, whether they react or not is up to them, but they do at least hear what people are saying. So,
and I think back to your question earlier of like, what is there a Zelda this year? Well, yes, but not Breath of the Wild.
maybe it'll be
it'll just be
Wind Waker HD and Twilight.
Yeah, it'll just be there'll be a remasters of some sort. You'll get,
and I'm okay with that.
I wouldn't be surprised if like that Prime trilogy finally makes its appearance this year or whatever. Like that's their like, oh, here's our other like.
I feel like the Metroid Prime trilogy is going to be, they're going to do a presentation where they're going to announce Prime 4, and then that same presentation they're going to be like, oh, also the trilogy is available now, like starting at the end of the presentation. Exactly. That feels like a very Nintendo move to me.
Yeah. It really feels like the trilogy. They've just been waiting for more 4 shit to be able to.
Well, now the rumor is it's no longer the full trilogy; that it's just that first Metroid Prime game instead of the full trilogy. So I
feel like that would be kind of weak.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I guess it depends if they actually
$60.
Oh no! Because didn't they do the trilogy on the Wii?
And you could download it on the Wii U. Yep. Wii U. It was on the Wii. It completely. Now, granted,
unless like the Metroid Prime, it's Metroid Prime 1. Like they redid it. Like or
this is the remake. If it's the remake, that's totally different.
No, I would backtrack on that. It's gonna be the Wii version, which was ever so slightly improved over the GameCube version, and actually lost some stuff. Remember, because they took away some things with just like higher, better res textures. It's all it's gonna be, just like with Skyward Sword.
They'll remove the ability to play the original Metroid.
Exactly. Well, because remember the talk about last year or whatever it was. Every insider said we're getting a big Zelda 35th anniversary direct. It's coming. Zelda's 30th Zelda's 30th anniversary direct.
We didn't get shit.
But they're going to announce all 3 Zelda games in one package, and you never heard anything. And finally, Nintendo came out and said it's just one game.
Yeah.
It's just one game.
And a Game & Watch.
A Game & Watch, which was actually
also Nintendo is known to pull things and just hold them off.
Exactly.
Later.
Yeah, they just sit on it.
Yeah, it could be like, okay, well,
right?
Yeah, they leaked this, so let's hold off on that and put this out. Like that's just. Them.
I mean, they pulled that whole Zelda show that was in development just because it got leaked out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we'll see. It's anyways, Pokemon news, big launch. It's gonna do. It's gonna be pretty big sales. Probably the biggest sales of this generation.
Patch 1.4 or whatever for Arceus that included.
Actually, it's interesting that they're already supporting Arceus as well as they are with like regular This is the earliest update they've ever had for a Pokemon game. They've already had a couple. I was surprised, so it's kind of good, but. Yeah, it really did. Zach, to your point, it felt, now looking back, Arceus is definitely a beta for what the next Pokemon is going to be. They probably said, let's throw a bunch of things in there, see what we can get to work, and from a battle style, from an open, seeing the Pokemon out there to this, let's see what we can get functioning, and then pull that into the
probably more realistically is they were fiddling with stuff and said and like, oh, this is cool stuff, we can kind of make a game out
and then
of
they
this.
stumbled into the next game with it.
There you go.
I mean, I would vastly prefer them to do this instead of do next gen remake, like continue to make side stories that do something a little different, increase expertise in whatever is coming next, and then actually make a more interesting next gen, with appreciable differences. That sounds more interesting. I mean, at least to me.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And as we know, I am the core Pokemon audience, so that makes, of course, it makes perfect sense.
You are as core Pokemon as I am to PC gaming on the go, which we'll talk about in a second here. Last bit of news that I thought was actually kind of interesting when this broke. Our good friends over at Epic Games are buying Bandcamp.
Oh yeah.
Which is
this is an interesting one. Or at least this one kind of struck me just because.
Elaborate,
yeah. I mean, it was kind of out of left field. Bandcamp is a very particular entity, and it doesn't really align with what, especially because we've been in such the spirit of acquisitions lately. It doesn't really line up with what many people would have probably been expecting. But if anybody was going to pick up something significantly outside the sphere of normal gaming acquisitions, it was probably going to be Epic. And I don't know.
It seemed like it was their turn. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so it's a pretty logical step if you think about how they use music in Fortnite and stuff. Like, it's kind of seems like it could be a way for them to
buy
get
Rock Band, or they did buy Harmonix.
Yeah.
It could be a way for them to get more music for Rock Band, to get more different artists into Fortnite, because there's a lot of artists who just sell music on Bandcamp who are like independent. So it's like it could be an interesting thing, but it's also just
this is part of their metaverse play. And I'm
yeah.
already seeing it now because
yeah,
I mean,
Harmonix and Bandcamp and Fortnite as a combo is like,
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it plays two sides. I mean, the metaverse, whatever their version of that shit is definitely. Is definitely well. No, I'm saying that, like, I don't want to call it metaverse because I think it's dumb. So like, does this integrate into Fortnite? Most likely, everything does for them at this point. But at the same time, the last acquisition that Epic made was really focused on their back end for Unreal, and I think it's silly to ignore this as probably playing into that too, because at the end of the day, you're trying to compete with their Epic managing Unreal is still trying to compete with Unity and the power that Unity provides to dev makers. And if they can figure out a licensing structure that lets people have access to any type of Bandcamp's IPs and music licensing through the Unreal Engine, that's very valuable. So anyway, I think as much as the Fortnite play is probably definitely a significant driving factor, I think the Unreal Engine and licensing stuff there is definitely a part of it too.
And itch. I mean, like their itch.
And itch,
like is definitely
all part of
the same point.
Yeah.
Itch is still definitely still gonna work out for them in a huge long term.
That's one of the more significant.
What was Itch a purchase or just allowing them on the platform?
It's an integration.
It was an integration, but
let's be reasonable here.
Agreed. Well, that's it for news. We've got a lot to talk about what we've been playing, and I'm trying to think of where do we start. Maybe we start with before we get into this bad boy, we start with JJ. Is it still downloading? You haven't started yet.
I haven't. No. It's fucking 100 gigs. There's no way I can talk about it. The gameplay for Gran Turismo. It's a nice box.
Okay, good. That's good to know. Good to know.
It's a steel book with a nice O-ring on it, and
have you been playing anything else at least besides Elden Ring?
It's literally just been Elden Ring. That's all it's been. Anything that's not Elden Ring is like Sega Genesis Picross, which is a great game, but
yes.
We've talked about Picross enough on this show.
Which we don't talk about it enough.
And Sam's not here to talk about it. So.
Well, hold on. Well, do you guys want to start with Elden Ring or Steam Deck?
Let's start with Steam Deck because Elden Ring is going to involve everybody.
Okay. Yeah. Steam Deck. So I was part of the first quarter folks that ended up buying this thing. It's giant. Okay, I'm going to say a couple things just off the bat. These are, and then I'll have you guys feel free to ask me any questions afterwards. These are things as a designer that I noticed as a product designer, and I was kind of labeling, noting some of those things online. First and foremost, it comes with a really nice case. I'm not going to lean over and get it. I think it's awesome that they're actually including a case with their device. It's meant to be portable.
Some devices.
Well, really, the
base, the cheapest Steam Deck doesn't come with the case. I don't think.
Mine's the cheapest Steam Deck.
I thought it was like
no. The most expensive one has a different case.
It's a different case. That's right.
It's a pre. So the 512 has the very nice case with the very nice glass. Every other model does come with a case.
That's right.
Yes. The really nice case is Gabe's skin is what it comes with. He handled it.
The Necronomicon.
So that being said, the case is huge. This device is huge. It's giant. That's at first it's laughably big, but that's not a bad thing. And what I mean by that is it is heavy. I will play this with my hands resting on the countertop, or I'll play it in my lap. I won't play this like I would play another handheld like a Switch or a 3DS or Vita, where I can lie down or kind of watch TV with it sort of hand. It does wear on you weight wise, and I think that's been noted. A lot of folks have been kind of saying the same thing. I've been playing this more like this with my palms, the meat of my palms, sitting on my table here and playing and looking up and playing, looking down, looking up, looking down. And I think that's totally fine. And that's because they're packing so much into a device like this. It's gonna be heavy. It's gonna be big. Screen size or not, it's got everything else in here that makes this a PC. Which also to me, the Switch 2 or Switch Pro, it's not going to get too crazy big. It's not going to get too crazy powerful, by the way, because it would have to be this big to even come remotely close to what the PS4.
So there are two different options for surpassing or matching what the Steam Deck is doing in this original Switch sizing. Yeah. One of those things would involve it coming out later so that it could take advantage of larger or smaller nanometer sized chipsets. Mm-hmm. The other option is them costing a lot more money.
Exactly.
Both of those options are not on the table for Nintendo, which means that neither one of those things are happening.
Exactly. Completely agree. There are a few. First of all, the buttons are totally like this. This feels great in my hands. And I know, Taylor, you had wondered about some of the stuff. It does feel really good. You can see how I'm holding it. My hands are immediately dropping to the rear trigger by Valve's design. The problem with that is that the majority of games don't start with rear trigger. They're R1, R2, which means I have to bend my finger up like this, and it does get uncomfortable.
Or
do not say I can remap it.
Or you remap it to the pad buttons on the back.
These are really comfortable too, right here. I'm gonna get into that in a second.
If only there were additional comfortable buttons for you to use that were remappable.
The thumbs or the touchpads here, I don't know if this is a lemon because I have had hardware issues. First and foremost, these vibrate when you're touching them to let you know that you're touching something.
Haptic.
This haptic, thank you. This right one shakes the table. This left one doesn't vibrate. And I don't know if it's a software thing or if there's a legit hardware issue with this device, but I have...
from the teardowns that I've seen, I thought that they were identical on both sides.
They're not functioning identically, and I have not tweaked anything on either of these. And then there are a few other issues. It's not the best plastic. It's, as a designer, look at stuff like there's this little graphic ridge you kind of see around here. You guys are never going to notice this, but I notice when something is like a fraction of a millimeter off, because my whole life I can't buy cars because I look at every fucking detail of the inside of a car and will tell you that will.
Is it your wife's job to buy a car?
Hate it. I don't like the glossiness. The buttons feel cheap. The face buttons and even the D-pad kind of feels a little cheap. It's like softer. I can't help but compare this to the Xbox controller. The current Xbox controller, where is it? It's around here somewhere. which is my favorite controller of all time. It's around here, wherever. Yeah, there it is. That feels perfect from a button style, button size. There you go. Yes. Materials standpoint, it feels fantastic. This definitely feels a little cheaper. I hate to say cheaper.
Amateurish.
I don't think amateurish either. It just doesn't feel it feels like it's meant to cut some costs.
Juvenile.
No, I mean, and let's be honest, it doesn't just feel like that. It was built that way. Exactly. Because the reality is, and I'm just going to lay this out there for anybody that might be confused by it. Valve is losing money on every $399 version of the Steam Deck, straight up. Gabe Newell has already admitted this. He did it before, but when the previews went out, they're losing money on those units. They would lose even more if the pieces were a higher quality. All the money is going into the cost of the Ryzen chipset and the Zen chipset for the CPU and the GPU on these devices, straight up. So if they put extra money to seal up all those small millimeter creases to get those slightly higher quality, but we're talking about maybe $12 per unit, but $12 per unit over however many you make adds up really fast.
Now I will, while I understand that, I will also say that is from a standpoint of a designer, someone who works with physical products, who, if you look at the plastics in your car, we're literally 2 pennies more on a car seat we get reamed over, because that's every cost, right? But those gaps are important to solve, and there are little gaps or annoyances here, regardless of design choices like the plastic style. I understand why they did it. The build quality of this is not perfect, and that can and should have been rectified. Now, again, Valve is not a hardware company, and every bit of hardware that I've bought from them, and I have every bit of Valve hardware like a dummy, except for their index. I have a controller. I have this. Exactly. Has not been super great, because they're not a hardware company, and they partner with folks to actually develop a lot of this stuff, but they're inherently not a company like Nintendo, like Sony, like Microsoft, who does a lot of hardware work.
Even like Microsoft wasn't a hardware company for the longest. So the
Correct.
first Xbox is is a mess.
Yeah, and I think that's what Dali's trying to say at the same time, though, is that we all remember Xbox when it first came out. Frankly, the original Xbox, kind of an ugly console, and it launched with and it launched with a pretty ugly controller. I mean, the original Duke controller, frankly, was atrocious. I mean, it was bad, and it wasn't until they revised that controller the first time before it really was usable. I mean, I remember, even though Halo was a system seller, the Duke controller, trying to use that when I was first playing it was awful.
I think
they fixed the aesthetic issues and stuff, and controller issues and stuff with the 360, but the guts
had massive, massive cooling problems. Obviously, as Stefan pointed out, the Red Ring of Death plagued the 360 for years until the second revision of the console.
The slim right over the black.
And Zach, you were going to say something just now? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was going to say it's crazy to me that the Duke controller, the original Xbox controllers, had the white and black buttons on towards the bottom right, and those were just like L1, L1, R1. Like that's basically what they were. Because if you played the backwards compatible Xbox games on the Xbox 360, the black and white buttons are L.
We get remapped.
Yeah, LB, RB. It's crazy to me that they didn't think about that at the time. That's just a different conversation. But
back to this. Valve as a company, and like I said, it's they're not. This is their first real console device.
This is this. They made this. This is theirs.
Yeah,
and this is the first one that they did.
That being said, They are a multi-billion-dollar company.
Don't say it.
That can and should have partnered with people or hired enough folks or gone through the quality checks, because it's 2022 and these should not be in any product whatsoever.
So
anyways,
go ahead.
Let me just say this. Again, I live in this world. 99.5% of people will not notice these issues. You guys will see this and be like, looks great, looks perfect. Me as a designer, I noticed the stuff on my Switch. I noticed the stuff on my PS5 controller, which PS5, by the way, has a lot of bad design ideas.
The majority has too many grooves on it.
Too many grooves. Trust me. Yes. Again, the majority of folks will not see this. They're not going to care. And so that can go over fine. However, what this does lead to is the long-term, how long a product can last for you. You look at like the first gen Switch, even though Nintendo has been doing consoles for 30, 40 years, the first gen Switch had issues. It warped. It would split because of the way the battery would overheat. They've subsequently fixed some of that stuff, but these types of problems shouldn't be there. I'm only saying it because they are annoyances to me as a designer. You three won't see it. You three won't care about it. But long term, it has. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get rid of tiny little gaps on a freaking car seat, which you're sitting on and you don't look at. So, anyways, again, stuff that I see as a designer that I can't help but notice when I look at this kind of stuff. That said, getting into the actual, so again, it's a very solid device. I like it from the feel, the standpoint. The weight is good. The way I'm going to use it is good. Fits good. I think they made a huge mistake in where they put their USB-C outlet on top instead of on the bottom, because I thought, well, how are you going to mount this? Because you instantly get, or dock it, you instantly get the Switch vibe from this thing. You're like, okay, this is meant to be docked, right? No. This device is designed to not be docked. It's designed to be docked only in that rare occasion that you have to plug something into the top of this, which means you're going to have a wire hanging out, which means you have all this kind of stuff. This is meant to be used by design. It's meant to be used in a strictly handheld mode. Okay. It's very loud. It's as loud as my laptop. Because I did not expect it to be this loud, as it is, but that's because, again, it's pushing hardware. It needs to be cool. They got the actual ventilation is kind of nice back here. I don't have an issue. It does get warm. It's not crazy in heat wise. I don't think any real handheld, unless I'm like squeezing it, doesn't get overly hot. This doesn't get overly hot. The buttons are in the right spots. Everything feels good. They have a Steam button, and they have, I don't know if there's a select button or what. They're a little bit more difficult to interface with because they're flush with the surface. So you actually have to look down to try to find them. I would have actually.
They need a slight bubble to them.
They need a slight bubble to them. Exactly. You need to have a little bit of 3D to it, just so I can blindly look at it and find it. So again, little annoyances, but to me as a designer, this adds up. To most people, they won't see it, but these things I definitely impact my experience with this kind of stuff. Anyways, beyond that, okay, I'm gonna turn this thing on for you guys. Okay, there it is. Wow.
All right,
cool.
so that was a resume from sleep.
That was a resume from sleep. This is the home. Essentially, you're greeted with this home screen. Wait, let me go to the home screen here. You're greeted with this home screen, which says, here are your recent games. And don't look at a lot of these because I have the idle thing going on my Steam so I can get the cards. But these are all your recent games. If you press the Steam button here, this sort of side menu comes up, and then at the very top, it will let you know what games are sort of active in the background, so that you can go down to the library. The library is more of a typical app library thing. Now, I made a point that the OS is a little on the slower side, and it is because It is, and it doesn't show it necessarily here. It's like the Switch's eShop. It is an HTML-based. It's a web page that's embedded in this, and that's why when you're scrolling games to buy, it's slow. The refresh rate is kind of bad on this. You can see it sort of jitter a little bit when it goes up. To me, that's an annoyance. It's a usability thing, and it makes me go a little cross-eyed because I do have eye issues because I'm old as fuck. But I do like the layout of this. But you can see I'm tapping down, and it just kind of goes at different speeds. And I will typically tap down on something to quickly to try to find what I'm looking for. I can use my hand and kind of slide, but even then you're starting to see a little bit of frame rate issue. Again, I don't know if this is big for a lot of folks. For me personally, it does sort of, it is an annoyance.
Does the D-pad work better or is it the same?
It's the same. Like I'm going up and down on this and it kind of jumps sometimes. So you see it jump like that. If I'm tapping it a couple times, it just jumps for no reason. So there's a lot of things like this within this operating system that it's something I've had issues with Steam in general. Steam is not a good. It's a very old product, and instead of doing a full relaunch of Steam as an operating system, they've done
very iterative for
exactly.
long,
and they've tried to because of how Steam is built. That Steam is in this, which means that's what I'm dealing with, and I don't have a disdain for Steam as a marketplace or as a place. I think it's fantastic. That's where I have the majority of my games. Actually, when you think about it, it's just it's old user interface, old software backends that I think are really hampering this. Okay, I'm gonna go into a game right now.
How come every digital storefront for games kind of sucks? Like, can we just have a good one?
I mean, it's just. Like everyone just wanted to be iTunes, and iTunes sucks ass. So
yeah, I mean, Here's the thing: is that you think about what are the storefronts that are most successful at selling a lot of shit, and it's kind of like Steam and iTunes. So, like, what do you chase? The one that we just said is shit, or the other one that we just said is shit. It's like, I mean, we both agree that they suck, but unfortunately, they are also like the top 2 selling e-platforms of all time.
So they have. I'm just gonna note these sections across the top. They have Great on Deck, which means all the games that you have which are Steam Deck verified, or whatever they call it. All games. These are all the games you have that work on PCs. On the PC platform. These are the games you have that are actually installed on your device. And then you have non-Steam things, which you can find, like Chrome is like basically the first one you can get that's non-Steam. Again, as I noted, I thought, I'm going to go check out Chrome. This sounds cool. So let's go to Chrome here real quick as it loads up. Chrome, a browser. You know how easy this is. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. I want to go to a website. Let me tap here. Okay, where's the keyboard? There is no keyboard. You have to hold the Steam button, hold Steam and X. Oops, back out of there. Let me back out of this. Sorry. Hold Steam and X, and then the keyboard comes up, which is to me, it's a usability fail. You have a touchscreen device that
but you left the Steam ecosystem, Dali, and you went to desktop mode. Bad boy.
Hold on. This is built into Steam. Stop.
Even your watch is yelling at you, Dali. You left the ecosystem.
The bad part about this is that they offer you Chrome within the Steam Deck operating system. It's like, hey, here's a non-Steam thing. You know what? You should get Chrome. Download. They almost push it. Download Chrome. Okay, I download Chrome. Suckers, Chrome doesn't function like how you would expect it to function on every touch device. It's a desktop. And so that to me raised some big flags for me because I thought, well, crap, I could not figure out how to get around on the web.
Is there like a weird tutorial that you're like prompt that you missed, like Elden Ring? Or
there is no way that there is a single tutorial through any step of the Steam Deck, JJ.
I'm just saying that with Dali, you never know.
With me, definitely, and we'll get in the Elden Ring.
Actually, you know what? I take back my criticism, JJ. You're right.
Yeah, obviously, the stores and stuff. Go back. So you see, Google Chrome is launched. So you can at the top there. I'm gonna go home. Oop, let me go to my library. Come on, push a button. There we go. Library, and I'm gonna go to games I have installed, and let's play one of the verified for deck games. Them's Fighting Herds.
You should really make yourself
the furry
focus
game
of the screen.
Yeah, I know. I should.
It's like watching my...
furry
Now
game.
Yeah.
it's still a black screen. It's still loading. There we go. I have noticed that if I play a game and then bounce out and then go to play another game and anything is updating or loading in the background, it can come to a grinding halt. It was very slow and very chuggy. The Steam Deck does. This is actually a pretty fun game. Them's Fighting Herds. I had never played it, and I kind of stupidly dig it. Again, my kid is
It was in a humble bundle at one point.
It was in a humble bundle. That's exactly how I got it. Yeah. Some of the games here play fantastic. If a game is not verified on Steam Deck, very good chance it's not going to play as it would on a PC with a controller, right? Okay, back out of here. Hit the Steam button. Okay, I'm going to go to back home. You can hear it still playing in the background, which to me is kind of weird. It's like I didn't realize that if I go to the home screen away from the game continues to play in the background. It's not paused. It doesn't go to like a space.
You're Alt Tab.
Exactly. It's all tabbing. It's all tabbing. Okay, so yeah, and it's playing there. So now Chrome and Them's Fighting Herds are playing. Let's see what my downloads are going right now. I have okay, no downloads in the queue. Good. Project Warlock is downloading, which is good because I bought that game on a humble bundle earlier. Let's download that sucker. Yeah, it's playing in the background, and that kind of sucks to me. It's like, oh great, I thought it would have auto paused. I have to actually manually close out of this. So exit the game. Oops, I'm back over here. Exit the game. Oh, nope, never mind. Sorry, you see the little thing comes up. I have to use this to exit the game. It can't be touched. There you go. Exit the game. I accept.
Can't you use the touchpad to control the mouse cursor?
You can't select with the touchpad.
I'm pretty sure you can.
I couldn't. If I was using it, I tapped and it would not. I can maybe click with this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Like you can click with the touchpad.
But using the touch screen and tapping on something did not work as a selection for Them's Fighting Herds. Again, could be just based on that game, but I'm not sure. There's a lot of things in this which I don't think it's the hardware's fault. I think it's purely the operating system's fault. And that's where I get to the point where...
Or the operating system users.
No, the operating system user. Because this is not a Vita killer. This is not a Switch killer. It's not even... It's not nearly aimed at the same market as the Switch. It's not aimed at console gamers. This... Uh-oh. The screen is clicking. Ugh, I'll put that down. The Steam Deck is...
Jesus, Dali.
Oh, God almighty. I had... My phrasing for this is the Steam Deck is the 3D printer of hobbyist PC gamers. In that this is not aimed at the every... Sorry, everyone. This is not aimed at the every gamer. It's not going to bring people into PC gaming. This is aimed at people who already have gaming rigs and love playing games on gaming rigs and want to take those games with them somewhere and know how to get into the back end of a device to... Sorry, I keep saying it though. Know how to get into the guts of a device to...
Okay, yeah, that's not any better.
Get them guts, Dali.
Know how to fiddle with the insides of a device.
God damn it.
To get it to work like how they want. And that's because they want the Steam Deck to be open, and they've made it for the PC person or the PC gamer to to go into this as if it's an extension of their current PC. Me, as a console person, had a hell of a time getting this to function like how I expected a console or a Switch or whatever else to function, because it's not made for that. It's not made for me. It's not made to be sold in the gaming section of Best Buy. It's made to be sold in the PC section of Best Buy. I don't know if that maybe is a good way to explain it. And my big mistake was approaching this as if I'm reading off my notes here. Approaching this as if it was a console, which is not. Because with a console, I'm used to turn it on, tap a button, play. And in most cases, I can't, because turn it on, start playing, something's downloading in the background, starts chugging like crazy. I've gone into Linux and gone into command line to fiddle with stuff. I should not have to do that with an all-in-one portable device. This is for the folks who really, really love PC gaming, and the ones who are always saying this game's going to be great on PC. I'm going to get this when it's on PC. Pokemon, if Pokemon's on PC, I'm buying it then.
I mean, now it is. So
now it is.
Yeah.
Was it Tim Tam? Whatever. No. I'm reading. It's not the best gaming PC because it's not as open to modding. If there's an issue, it's all software. You have to fix the software. You have to go in there and do some command line stuff to fix it. And it's not made to just start it, play, put it down, pick it up later. You guys saw it. Them's Fighting Herds was running in the background. I thought I shut it down because in other games, it will go into a pause mode. And other consoles, I should say, it goes into a pause mode in the background, and I can kind of do a few things and close it and load it back up.
Yeah, so it really is just alt tabbing because
it is alt tabbing. Yeah,
games
well,
do that.
Think about it a slightly different way, where if you have the Steam overlay running on a game on a Windows machine or on a Mac machine, you hit Shift Tab.
Yeah.
Right. You hit Shift Tab, it brings up the Steam overlay.
Yeah.
In big picture mode, it takes you to the big picture mode screen. It's that. Except it's running. Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's what, to me, makes it not it's not a portable console. Obviously not a portable console. It's portable PC. It's not made for me. Unfortunately, I was super hyped on this thing, thinking that it was literally going to be I'm going to start up. And it was actually simple enough to get this thing up and running in my house. It connected, like the setup is super fast. I thought that was actually really surprising. Way faster than any other gaming device that I've had. Like be able to log into my account. It's like, here are all your games. Oh shit. That was really quick. That's really nice of Valve to do that. Like it was literally, which is your Wi-Fi, tap in your Wi-Fi password, put in your account name. Good to go. That part was awesome. The easiest setup I've ever had in a gaming system. But beyond that, it doesn't tell you what the issues are with the individual games that you're playing. And my fear is that, and I've already had it happen before, where subsequent plays of certain games react differently. Street Fighter, I have Street Fighter or Ultra Street Fighter 4, whatever that was. I think I got that from a bundle as well. That, by the way, here we go. Hold on. Best take of the day, Ryan, is Jeff Grubb wrong. Jeff Grubb was paid off by Valve. Remember that? He got this thing for free.
Oh, no. Here we go again.
He didn't finish Elden Ring before he gave that a 10. Let's just pass on to the... no.
He loves Balan Wonderworld, you know.
He loves Balan Wonderworld. What can you do? No, and it's the Steam OS that fails this device from a usability standpoint. It's not as solid as a console. A console is a walled garden for a reason. You're going to go in, every game is going to work. It may chug, but it chugs because it's Pokemon Arceus with frame rate issues. It's not going to chug because you're trying to download something in the background and it's kicking you out nonstop of everything that you're doing, and it freezes up. And that's what I've had happen with this already. Granted,
that's a CPU threading issue, by the way.
Well, exactly.
I know, but I'm just clarifying, like for folks that are going to watch and be like, God, why would it do that? The network is tied to CPU usage. because it's not truly suspending the game. It's running in the background. It tries to download. All the data is being pushed by the CPU to do the download. It can't run the game simultaneously, and that's what happens.
Yeah. And so I guess to kind of finish my whole thing about this is that this is not for the console person. It's never going to replace the console experience because of that. It's not pick up and go type of experience. It is play in my case like that. Play your gaming device, your already awesome gaming machine. Play part of that, take part of that with you somewhere. And the folks that are really into that aspect, sort of the more niche PC market, not like the average game. Like my daughter's never going to use this thing. She plays the majority of her game time is on Roblox. It's on Minecraft, it's on other stuff. This will never be her. She won't go to this thing. She'll stick to her PC because it's easier to get into. And I reckon the majority of folks will think that same way too. People that are really hardcore into PC gaming and love to mess with stuff on a PC, this is perfect for them. They're gonna have a ball with this thing. They're gonna love this. They're gonna love remapping stuff. Unfortunately for me, again, I shouldn't have to say R1. I have to remap R1 to R2 because of the bad design. It should have already been designed as R1 as being the most accessible because that's what we're used to as gaming community idea. So
well, I'll have you know, Dali, as a PC gamer, I'm very excited to remap my controls.
That's exactly.
Steam
I don't
has
remap
a very
my stuff.
good remapping stuff going on with it.
No, that's cool. And what I mean by that's cool is I don't know that. Even though I do remap stuff on
You have a
Steam,
Steam controller,
yeah, I do, and I freaking hate that thing. By the way, it's comfortable though.
Remap control.
It's not as easy to do some of that stuff on here. It's not as apparent to do some of that stuff on here to somebody who's coming into this, looking at this like a console gamer. Okay, this is not a bad device at all. Taylor, you said it best before when you said Steam Deck 2 is going to be awesome because this is, and what I was saying in Discord earlier, this is a device that I feel launched too early. And you can kind of tell because they couldn't get enough of these devices made. They still have kind of low stuff. They're slowly ramping up. This should have been in the hands of power users, power Steam users, a small community for months in advance, 6 months to a year, maybe in advance. Guys like Taylor, maybe guys like you, Zach, to use this thing or use some version of this thing, run it through the paces of how you would actually use it, and then open it up to the mass market. I understand you can only buy this thing through Steam, and that's supposed to be some type of gate, but Steam has millions and millions of users, and a lot of us, like me, saw a tweet from Wario, which was like, hey, you can buy it right now on Steam. I was like, fuck it, I'm buying this thing on Steam like everybody else. And then Gan is in here fucking talking about throw this fucker up on
Peglin PUBG.
Like, throw this fucker up on StockX and get $1,500 for it. And I'm like, maybe it will. But no, it's
Jazzball, what are you going to play some Chip Quest after this game?
But, I do feel like it's still in early access, and that's okay. But that's where I thought maybe the initial delivery of this should have been to more of a smaller group to really kind of put it through the paces before it goes to this larger audience. Because the rest of us, guys like me, expected this to be the Jesus gaming PC, and it ain't. Not yet. It may be by the end of this year, but it ain't now.
So I will say a couple of things. I mean, why? Because so obviously I don't have one yet. But couple, I think that I do agree that it's definitely not for console folks that are like, oh, finally the bridge. I can play my games. Finally the bridge machine for me.
I think Dali's underselling who the market is a little bit because
right.
It's not the entry level. This isn't your baby's first PC. But
I think it could be.
Exactly. It could in the future, not now.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the software problems that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. This is a handheld PC that Valve markets as a handheld PC. It's not marketed as a console in any of the material. And so I don't want to.
Definitely not a PC gamer. Most of my PC gaming is on a pre-built laptop that I buy, and I couldn't put together a computer if my life depended.
Right, and I think for those folks, I actually think that this is a strong parallel. This is a computer that you are buying in a handheld format. Yes, it's running on a customized operating system image, which is SteamOS, which is based on Arch Linux. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna buy a gaming laptop to say I'm going to install and play my games on it, I would expect somebody that can do that could play this on the Steam Deck, because
a lot of the weird software issues that Dali runs into is just kind of
PC stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly. No.
It's not and I can a lot of stuff I couldn't figure out, but also I know I could figure this out. So, but a lot of those.
No, that's exactly it. And I think that's what I was hoping. Maybe I just didn't make myself clear enough. Was those issues are common to people who know PC stuff. It's like, oh, that's an issue on a PC. I know how to solve it. I can remap my buttons. I can go into the back end and do a super quick line of code that I found online in the forums that'll fix it.
To run code on it. Come on.
But the player base that understands how Steam works is significant. It's not. It's not.
I'm just saying,
thing. Yeah.
Steam has included button remapping as a part of the UI for its application for 5+ years.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going into the desktop mode right now.
Oh boy,
Linux desktop.
Well, he's gonna program something for us.
This is how I got
Bash.
the emulators on this thing.
Sudo RV.
Sudo apt get Steam OS.
No, so I mean, the way this was overhyped, and it was overhyped a lot. The same way. Let me finish what I'm saying. Very similar to how Elden Ring was hyped.
Oh
in
boy.
That
Here we fucking go.
And I want to transition to Elden Ring because I'm really enjoying Elden Ring actually. This is, if you're looking at this strictly as a handheld gaming PC, looking at it strictly as a handheld gaming PC, it's not the best. It's not the best gaming PC. It's not. And it's because you can't.
Is it the best handheld gaming PC?
It's one of the best handheld gaming PCs out
there. Name the better handheld game. Name the better handheld gaming PC immediately. I demand that you name me the superior handheld gaming PC.
I think this.
The Fire Tablet 11 or something.
You're gonna be like,
you're losing me.
You're gonna be like Chris Grant on the old Joystick podcast. He's like, this just needs to come to iOS, and we're all gonna be happy.
Oh my god! I'm going back in time.
Okay. I'm offending people who are hardcore PC folks, and I don't fucking care.
And JJ.
You're not offending me. You're just offending my sensibilities.
I went into this because of the form factor of something that's handheld and completely contained. My initial thought on this thing was it's just going to work perfectly because of what I know about handheld gaming devices, because of what I know about handheld consoles, because I don't know whatever. I went into this thinking it's just going to work without issue, and it should just work.
That was marketed as a computer.
Listen, I can market a Chevy as a Porsche. It's not going to make you think it's a Porsche.
But it's not just.
No, you saw a Chevy that had the body of a Porsche, ignored the manufacturer, and said, "Hold on, This doesn't rev like a Porsche.
Just because it's a Porsche body on a Pontiac Fiero doesn't mean it's a Porsche. And
Anyway,
the guy
Dali,
told you it was a kit car.
I feel like in all of the months that we went back and forth talking about Steam Deck, you never asked me any of the questions about how this thing would work. In which case, I would have gladly told you the truth.
Wait. How many times did we talk about like side loading windows onto this thing?
Well, yeah, I think it's a side load window so I can play my Xbox Game Pass game.
What I'm finding really interesting about this is that I hear a lot of, you didn't ask us how this is going to work. When I buy this and it shows up, as it shows up as a product, it comes with one tiny little piece of paper that says "Welcome to Steam." That's it. It doesn't say here's how you sideload Windows 10 so you can get Fortnite running on this. It doesn't. It says welcome to this product. It shows you this. It shows you this home screen, which says, hey, check out this really cool home screen, all these cool games, got a lot of news on here. It's not designed like a PC from a usability standpoint. It's not designed like a PC from a modding standpoint because you can't get into the hardware of this sucker. Maybe you can, but it doesn't mean you're going to be putting bigger chips in here.
Steam doesn't come with an instruction manual, and this is a Steam fucking.
Okay.
I don't disagree with what Dali's saying.
I'm not saying it's a bad device. I'm not.
The difference is that I think that it's also unfair to say that the form factor dictates our expectations on what a device is supposed to be able to do.
Listen, I will say this. You're correct, but that takes time to break that. It takes time to break that.
And on the other hand, Valve is also taking advantage of the form factor and the associations that go along with it. And there are certain things that you have to adhere to if you are going to take advantage of those pre-noted. What's the word I'm looking for?
There's some expectations.
Yeah. You're taking advantage of the association of the form factor with products that are already on the market.
Yes.
And if you're going to do that, you have to be prepared for the criticisms that are going to come along with what happens when they don't work as well.
And exactly. And that's why I'm saying this.
That being said, Dali, you're still wrong in many ways.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No. This is not for me because I see the Switch and the Switch just fucking works. I pop a cartridge in. I don't have to go through a back. I hate saying God again. Every time I get that, I don't have to go through any type of coding and closing things out and going in to get something to work. In this case, I do. Granted, again, if Valve can fix their user interface, can fix their operating system and get it to work like how I'm expecting it to work as a device like this, which is not only just fighting the Switch, it's also fighting tablets that are out there, right? Because the number one selling touchscreen device, the iPad, is the best interface for it, way better than the Switch, way better than this in terms of interfacing with the touchscreen device. You do have that in the back of your head as someone coming into this thing. I bought this thinking, again, I can't wait to play all my Steam games on this. It's going to be awesome. Now I've realized 23 of the 170 Steam games I have are the ones that work. And there are issues with those Steam games as well. They don't just
What about Final Fantasy VI Pixel Perfect?
I got to pick that up. I'm definitely... Now, which font are they using? To me, that as a person looking at this as an all-in-one device, because again, the home screen, you open it up, the home screen is, this is your all-in-one device. The home screen isn't, here is a Linux desktop. It's, check out everything you can do with this device. Here's your home screen. Here are all the games that just work, but they don't just work. And so you go into this, again, like you said, in the back of your head right now, it's going to be compared to the Switch. It's going to be compared to tablets because of the form factor. And you need to be vastly, you need to offer something. And again, there's tons of great layers in this. folks that are big into like JJ, you're gonna love this for being able to do the emulation on here and to do all kinds of cool stuff.
Finally,
This is gonna be a great it's gonna be a great emulation device. We're
losing Zach.
I'm just about done. But looking at this thing
to play with.
I wish I was. But looking at this thing strictly from what you have to compare against right now, it is not hitting that tone just yet. Again, all it takes, I hate to say all it takes, fix the user interface and really hone in on the portable gaming. This is your portable Steam library experience. You're gonna sell this thing like crazy. To folks like me.
Yeah, so here's my quick take, especially since I don't have one, so it's going to be extra quick. There's a couple things that Valve could have done. One is that the Steam Deck is the first time that SteamOS version 3, so just so you know, for anybody that doesn't know, SteamOS technically has existed. We know it as Big Picture Mode. Technically, it's gone through 2 iterations, previously based on other versions of Linux. Version 3, which is what's on the Steam Deck, is based on Arch Linux. This is the first time that it's ever been released, it's ever been used, is on the Steam Deck directly. Right now, there's no other way to get it other than on the Steam Deck. That's a really big hurdle to try and surmount on your first go around. You create a brand new version, a major revision of an operating system, and you put it on hardware that had no beta. So you don't beta test an entire version of an operating system, and you don't have, theoretically, obviously they had dev builds of the hardware, but the dev builds of the hardware were running on your beta and alpha builds of your operating system as well. It's a really bold production move. I mean, they're hurting on it. Linus from Linus Tech Tips, I mentioned this in the Discord. He posited that the idea that they probably delayed this not because of hardware issues or availability issues, although I'm sure that was probably a contributing factor, but because of necessary delays in getting the operating system even to the point that it's at now. And it certainly seems like that's probably true. So,
and again, I think through tons of usability testing, and again, I bring up Taylor because Taylor lives with something like this as a really great device, and I think you're really going to love this thing. I mean,
they need the ability to suspend apps, instead of just suspending the operating system, which is what it does right now. You need to be able to press the Steam button, suspend the app, and put it into a sleep mode if they can figure that shit out.
And those are the small things that break an experience for me. And that's what makes it feel like this isn't made for me. Because the stuff that I'm used to on my phones, on my other consoles, on my other tablets, it doesn't function like that here. And
Steam Deck 2, baby!
That's exactly right. I think they're going to learn so much from this thing.
Steam Deck 2 is going to launch on like SteamOS 3.5 or some shit like that. And listen, this is hopefully, theoretically, this is the reception that they needed.
This is the best line because Stefan, now you know what I have to go through when I listen to them fucking talk about Final Fantasy 14 every week.
All right.
We only had like one show. We only had one show where we talked about Final Fantasy 14 for more than an hour. I'm pretty sure.
This
is the end of the Steam Deck talk.
I'm taking control of this. 3 lightning round, 3 questions. What's the battery life like?
Battery life's about 90 minutes.
Does it play Windjammers?
It is longer than 90 minutes. Hold on. How are you going to answer? The 90 minutes is completely dependent on exactly what you're playing on it.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah. Sorry. 90 minutes is based on what I'm playing on this. That's all I know. So I can't answer for like 4 hours. Sorry.
Okay. It's okay. Windjammers, you said yes. And number 3, does it play Elden Ring? Do you want to talk about Elden Ring?
I want to talk about Elden Ring.
If we have to talk about suspending something again, I'm going to suspend myself from the rafters. Okay.
You could have just said, "I'm going to suspend myself from the podcast, my man."
No.
This is what it takes to get you guys to shut up for a little while.
Elden Ring. So
All right, now, or listen, guys, we're at 1 hour and 20 minutes, so it's time to make it to 2 hours and 20 minutes talking about Elden Ring, if you would please.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off this conversation because I want to get
Please, let's move on to the other note taker.
I haven't taken any notes. It's all right here. So you're about to be in for
I have
a
all the
the
treat.
most dangerous place
So-
in Zach's mind.
I want to start off first because I think it's gonna color our entire conversation. So Elden Ring feels like what Breath of the Wild said it was, like that continuation of Zelda 1. Like that's what it feels like, at least to me. It feels like this is the realization of what Breath of the Wild conceptually can be. So that's just how I've colored my whole experience with it, is kind of with that. But then I think the other thing that I've come to realization is like Elden Ring objectively, I think might be one of like the like a perfect game almost, like objectively, just like you write down all of its parts and like everything, and like everything that I think you could ever wish for a game to be, Elden Ring is. Yeah, it's just an inspiring game from a design standpoint. It's just crazy. Like I just, my mind's always going crazy thinking about this game. Like how did they even begin to design this as this part of it? Like how they even think about this part of the map? Like how, like it's just insane. But you know, objectively writing it down on paper, I think it's a perfect game, which is crazy to say, because I would never think I would say that. But yeah, that's genuine. That's where I'm gonna be coming from when I talk about the game. But like, there's also the subjective side. But objectively, you know, yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. This game is special. Like I don't know what it is, but it's just like because they have the Breath of the Wild formula, but they've made it better by just making things that you find mean something. Like everything you find means something. Like this is used for something. This has use. This has use. This weapon could be used for this. Like this, a person might like that weapon. A person might like this. Versus Zelda, where it's like, oh, you go do something, and like here's a little seed that does nothing. Here's this little like rupee that just whatever. But it's like Elden Ring is like they're vital things to the exploration, to your level, to just everything. It's just, yeah, it's, and then just the design of it. Like I think when we all start to talk about it, we're all gonna have these like, oh yeah, I went to the right and there's a slope and there's this tree that was hiding this thing. It's like so cool to like naturally discover something. And that's hard for games to do. But that's just kind of it. Everything else I'm gonna say is gonna be based off of what y'all say. So yeah.
I'm gonna hop in real quick. I'm just gonna tag in based off of what you said, and I agree with you. I think this game's a 10. It's totally not for me, and it's totally not for a lot of people. Being a perfect game doesn't mean that it's perfect for everybody, right? To me, Zelda's a perfect game. Not perfect for everybody. Yes, it is actually. I'm lying, but no, it's what. And I'll get into I will also get into a little bit of details later. I want to lead off with every time a new Souls game releases, I hear from people, okay, no, this is the one that will get you into it. I absolutely am enjoying my time with this game, and I never thought I would hear myself say that. This is not going to get me into any more Souls games, because the next Souls game isn't going to be open world like this.
No, there's nothing to go back to.
It's easily the best of this genre by far. It's so well made, and even the stupid bugs that we come across, people sharing them on, it's so endearing to me. Even my horse getting stuck with his head in the side of a tower, I laughed for like 15 minutes and just spun around and took photographs. This isn't an accessible game. It's definitely not for everyone. That's by design, though. And it's not that it's hard. I don't care that it's hard or challenging. I I actually appreciate that they've designed this game a certain way. For me, it's not accessible because it goes so deep into the weeds in terms of there are a lot of steps.
Massively esoteric.
Exactly. It's why I haven't played D&D very much, and because this is like, it's almost sadistic. You have to really love Excel sheets of data to be into a game like this, and that's totally cool. I think there is.
Man, do I have a game for you? It's called RuneScape.
Oh, not again! No.
But I'm never going to finish this game. I'm never going to get very far into the story because I missed the opening fucking tutorial because of the game tried to fucking trick me. And because I'm so used to, like, if somebody says,
you skipped the tutorial, didn't you?
Yeah, I said I didn't skip it. I missed it because
it's a big ass hole. Just go in the hole.
And you talk to the dude, and he says that people that want to learn go down the hole.
In other games, that's a trap. In other games, it's a trap. And the stupid messages that people leave you, made me believe it was a trap. Anyways, that was
an amazing tutorial, by the way.
Yeah, it is a great. I have gone into it. It's a great tutorial. It's clearing things up for me. Even after going through this tutorial, this game isn't going to click as something that everybody's going to be into, and that's totally fine. Totally fine. Just like Monster Hunter. I now understand Monster Hunter after these last, after finally figuring out it's not a game for me. I love it. I love looking at it. I love just walking around Elden Ring. There are very few games that are true open worlds. Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild, Elder Scrolls, maybe some bits of GTA, but that's more sandbox. That may be it. To be a truly open world where you can literally... You don't have to worry about the story. Just go and do whatever the hell you want and enjoy your time there. And I think, to me, that is what Elden Ring does maybe better than any other game out there. Now, granted, it is obsessively difficult. So it's not like Zelda where I can go over there and just kind of beat up some moblins and come back and whatever. But that's by design. It's meant to be challenging. It's meant to get you to figure out how to beat things instead of just pounding enemies into death. But again, I will absolutely not be able to recommend this to majority of gamers for the reason because if you haven't been into Dark Souls before, you will not be into this game for that gameplay aspect. You may get into this game like I did for just loving adventuring and just walking around and trying shit. Again, I'm never going to beat this game because I've already missed the story and I have no fucking idea where I'm going right now, which is totally fine in this case. And I think that's what makes this so endearing. Anyways, I don't know if you guys thought I was going to go that route because I initially started this game going, what the fuck? I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. This is impossible to get into.
When you asked us, we didn't have good high hopes when you asked us. Like, there's no sprint.
Yeah, and those are all. That was
there's literally a prompt
things in my stupidity. I don't read shit, and I that's why again, there are some. I know to sprint by holding down the left analog stick, the left joystick, and it's not in that way in this game. So I had to relearn that stuff. Totally fine. That was me. And I'm taking the L on that, and I'm totally fine taking the L. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Phenomenal game. I cannot recommend it to the majority gamers, but not for a reason that it's bad. It's just for the reason that if you haven't been into Souls games before, you're not going to love this game for the Souls aspect of it. That's all I gotta say.
I guess for me, I hate playing this game because I'm bad at it. I've reached my upper limit.
Horrible at it. Yeah.
I've reached my upper limit, but I love Elden Ring. It's a lot of things. It's where I love what you're doing. And I'll be completely and brutally honest on this. I'm just cheating my way through this game.
I've got to learn to cheat. I'm
playing in offline mode just to be as kosher as possible. And I've got a trainer downloaded. I can just, if I need to, I can just activate certain things, and I can just fucking explore. I still
you're
get
playing
to
it on PC, aren't you?
I'm playing
Damn
it on
Should
PC.
have done that.
So I get to experience Elden Ring. I get to explore the map. I still get to enjoy some of the Elden Ring bullshit because it's like Miyazaki knew what the fuck I was doing, and it's like, oh, you think you're invincible and you're gonna fight this dragon? No fucking way. I don't care that you have God mode on. It is a one-hit kill on you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And you know, all of these, I still get a good, like, I get like, you know, waylaid out of nowhere by a boss that I didn't know I was anywhere near, or like a map boss. So, like, I just love the lore. I love exploring this map. I love discovering things. I will turn. That's. I'm just enjoying the game the way I want to enjoy it. I know I'm not going to have any fun playing this game as God intended, but I'm really enjoying just experiencing it and being able to understand any of this conversation as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like being in there. I'm really just enjoying. See, every time you exit somewhere and you're just like, how this game's too big, but like in a good way, not in a negative way where it's just, I mean, like, because
y'all
everything
think that
feels
opening
like
area is huge, then it's like,
yeah, it's like it's one of those things like, yeah, it's one of those things where nothing feels like it's just there to take up map space. Which is what the most impressive, because like,
thank you. Yeah, great
because
point.
like you play Ocarina of Time and it's an open world map, but is it like it's nothing? There's nothing.
It's an open world map with a lot of empty space.
Yeah, nothing's empty here. There's always something in the horizon that you look at and you're like, what the fuck's that? And you like wander over there and it's gonna kill you almost certainly, but the adventure to get over there is exciting. Like it always feels like they've made sure every angle has something. Every area you go has something going on. And it's so impressive. The absolute scope of this game is what drove me into just saying, like, I know I'm not going to be able to beat this game. It is above my skill set.
Yep.
I know my limits. And that's fine. That's fucking fine. I appreciate it. There needs to be games like this. I grew up in the NES. You know, it was an achievement to beat Ninja Gaiden. You know, it's what it is. What it is. These games need to exist. And I played Ninja Gaiden with a fucking Game Genie, and I'm playing this with a fucking trainer. So that's just where I'm at with it, and I am loving every second I've spent with this game. I think but I'm like 60 hours into this game, and I feel like I've seen absolutely fucking nothing, because I'm just living this world. It's like 1 minute I'm like in a town that looks like Innsmouth, the next minute it's just like, oh, this the Tornado Alley. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. And I you know, because of how I'm playing it, I will see it to completion because I am absolutely fascinated by the world, the lore. Every creature design is exciting. There's never been a dull moment when it comes to creature design in any single sector of this game. Yeah, but I've told people, like, at work, it's like like so, oh, so you're playing it, how is it? And I was like, oh, I hate every moment of it, but but I've given up trying to pretend like I'm playing this game, and I'm just
JJ, there are skeletons on a blimp that drop down on top of you.
I have, like, it's like above that, like, swampland.
Yeah.
No, I found those. I saw the blimp and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I go over there and, like, one of them is like a twirling arrow man that fucking destroyed me.
It's so cool.
I just love it. I love. My favorite part is the surprise shit. Like, just entering a room and just having a scary man immediately try to just wreck your shit is some of the most comedic gaming I have ever seen in my life. This is one of the funniest games you can ever play without a lick of comedy being written in it. It is so, and it's designed that way. This is one of the most gamiest ass games that has ever been made because there is no attempt to try to like combine like lore and gameplay and what makes sense. It's like, no, this is what would make for a fun game moment, and I'm just gonna fucking do it, and I don't care what like if it makes sense or not. This is just what's going to happen, and it wants to be a video game, and I respect the hell out of that, and it's so wild how massive this undertaking was, and how they fucking nailed it. It's like they nailed the landing, and it's crazy to me.
Like, no, there's like the first dungeon that you do is Stormvale Castle.
Yeah.
And that thing is fucking ginormous.
It's
it is
so big.
So big.
It's
and
like
then
12 hours I spent.
And then you're like, you know what? They can't do another one that big. You get to the next one, it's like, oh, there's two of them here. Okay. It's like I don't know how they even did it. Like the creativity this team has is just like out of this world. And like I might come across as like a big Souls fan, but I'm really not. Like I like Dark Souls 1. I don't like the other Dark Souls games. I like Sekiro a lot, but like that's really it. Like I've just kind of been on the outs of these games because I'm like, they've done the same thing for 5 games straight. Like I want something new. And this is it. And it's just like, dude, this stuff that you see, the things that you like encounter, like you're saying, it's a funny game. And a lot of people don't appreciate that aspect, but the game makes me laugh constantly because it's like, oh, crazy, cool. Like, yeah, it's just like in a world where games try and be more than like games.
Yeah.
Like let's just have this like really deep story, blah blah. This is just like, hey, here's this big ass world, have fun, see like I'll see you in like 5 years again. Like it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all right.
Okay, well, that's side questing.
No, I mean, like, I like it. I like it more than
you're wrong.
The other, I mean, that's fine. Eat shit. I like it more than Dark Souls games. Playing this does not entice me to go back to any of the other Dark Souls games because they still are what they are, which is not interesting. Because what they do is say, we are going to pop shit out at you to please ourselves as we make this video game, and so that you will die. And then the next time that you do it, you'll know that it's there. And if you forgot, you'll die again. And like that's, and okay, thank you. That's the whole video game. If you get frustrated by that, you can come back to it later when you're less frustrated and try it again. With Elden Ring, it's if you become frustrated by that, Stefan, I didn't play Bloodborne. I don't intend to, because Bloodborne is well regarded as better than many of the Dark Souls games, but suffers from the exact same problem that I just described, in my opinion.
They just set you on a path that you have to walk towards your death.
Right. It's the path. It might be slightly better designed path, comparatively, but the rest of it's the same. What is promising to me about Elden Ring is the fact that, I got to the castle really early because the game starts out and it's like, follow the light of grace because that's what you have to do. So I did. And I got to the castle really fast. And then I ate shit repeatedly.
Same.
And, I did what I thought was a good idea, which was dodge a few enemies that were like, okay, I probably can't take this right now. And that was probably true. But the difference was that I got to the castle, and, if it was a Dark Souls game or a dark, Bloodborne or whatever, the options would be to, okay, find the best place where you can farm and level up your character, and then do that until you're strong enough to now you can proceed. The difference with Elden Ring is that it's kind of still the same thing where you have to do that, except that I'm not going and farming a spot. I'm like, oh, look, it's the rest of the map to go find shit.
Yeah.
And that makes a very, very big difference.
Yeah, like the game design of Souls is like they put you through a ringer and it's like you're stuck there. Like there's no escape. And with Elden Ring is like you go to these ringers and you're like, oh, I don't really feel like this. I'm gonna go over here. Like I'm just gonna go explore. And
hop on turret and run past him.
Like that little design choice, giving you the choice to just run away, changes everything. Like it's like that's what makes this game enjoyable. Because
I hit a bad spot in Dark Souls and I'm like, okay, if the rest of the experience is like this, I'm just gonna, and then I literally have quit every single one I've tried to play because it just like I get to that point, it's like, no, it's just not fun. This is just, I don't know, different in an inherent way.
Yeah, because like what Dark Souls makes you do is it makes you contemplate outside of the game, and that's like like that for a lot of people is just like, okay, like that's not fun. But
I could do it. I just don't want to.
No, exactly. But in Elden Ring, you're contemplating what happened, but you're doing other things that is also accelerating your character at the same time. So it's like they keep you playing the game while still getting the same result that you would from a Dark Souls game. But the psychological choice that they give you is huge. Like that's why people are saying this is the easiest Souls game when it's really not.
It's just that the difficulties kind of spread out differently.
It's giving you it's giving you the opportunity to run away until you feel like you're mentally ready.
It's like saying, just for example's sake, like one Zelda game is harder than the other because it has dungeons laid out specifically, and then a Zelda game that lets you choose which dungeon you do first is easier because the option is there. It's like saying Breath of the Wild is easier because you can run straight to Ganon. It's like, I guess, like, I mean, it's like, or you could, or because it's easier because you can get all the shit and then go to Ganon, and then Ganon's really easy. Like the same argument is there. Not that I'm intentionally trying to make Breath of the Wild comparisons, but
I mean, it's an apt comparison. It's pretty like
I can't climb mountains with my bare hands.
Yeah, that's true.
It's automatically
kind of weak, kind of a weak entry.
You want to hear my Dali moment in this game, though? That was there.
Please do.
I didn't know you had to rest at the
the grace
to activate the fucking leveling system in the. I was significantly into the game until I was like,
you were so into it that you ignored what the lady told you about. I can power you up if you rest here.
Because
these moments of stupidity that everybody is facing in this game. Everybody is having these. I can't believe I missed that type of moment. I think that's awesome. I think that's really cool.
This guy's note to tell me.
I believe this note. I died.
It's a really cool community thing. Is what I'm about to say. Like my Final Fantasy group, my guild. Like there's like 200 of us in there. Like we're all active and. Like we have like a sub channel where we're just, like people who are playing the game are just in there talking about the game, but so fun to be like, hey, what is this? Where do I do this? How did you find this? Where is this? And you're just sharing with people. This like community aspect of the game is so fun. It's like, how did you get that weapon? Where's this cookbook at? Where's this like church at? Like it's just so fun to talk to people. And just share things. Like, for example, I don't know if you know the colored stones that people say don't do anything. What those do, if you drop them off a cliff and they shatter, that means you'll die from that drop. If they don't shatter, you can survive that drop. So, like, that's my favorite item in the game because I just walk off a cliff. Like, oh, let's see where this goes. Okay, I can live. Like,
throw one of those bad boys on your pouch slot. You'll use it.
Yeah.
They're great and they can light rooms and stuff. Like, but I wouldn't know that unless my friend told me. and I was like, oh shit, like that's really good. Like that's why I love these weird esoteric games like RuneScape, because it's a community thing where it's like we learn this together. Like we are forming the future of this game. Like when a person plays this game in three years, they're gonna be using knowledge that all of us have gathered now, and that's something that's really interesting to me.
And they're going to they're going to find things in 3 years. Like they still are finding with Zelda. They're going to find things in this game. They're like, I didn't know you could do that. And it's going to bring in everybody back in for like a weekend.
Did you guys find the underground area? I think Taylor probably did. But like you go into an elevator, it's like this 5-minute long ride down. You're like, oh, cool. And it's like, oh, another map. Like, let's see what this is. It's a whole ass map. But yeah, no, there's seriously 2 huge ass castles in the next area right after the first big castle. It's like, oh, like they legit spent hundreds of man hours making these huge ass dungeons. Yeah, it's something that should be celebrated. Like just the amount of creativity that this game allows.
You can, like, go onto Twitter and see somebody's like screenshot that they took, and it's like, where the fuck is this? Like, that's a whole area I haven't seen yet, or like, it's a new location every time you see a screenshot. It's the fucking craziest thing. It's so cool. It's so fucking cool. This game, this game is going to be like the game of the year. I don't think there's any
chance.
I can't picture, like, even somebody like me who, like, I don't think so. I think this game is just so special.
So here's the thing. Is what's going to happen for a lot of games that are sequels by comparison to this one. So like, it's kind of a sequel to Dark Souls 3, but it's also very much not.
Yeah.
It's Dark Souls 4, Bloodborne 2, Dark Souls 5.
Yeah.
Like,
Armored Core.
CS7.
But I mean, the thing is that God of War is going to be most likely more God of War.
Yeah. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. Yeah. The difference is that
all out in space.
Yeah.
You know,
the outer
Blood Souls 6, what this game is not more. I mean, yes, it's more of those games, but it's more of a different game that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I think that God of War is going to be a little too close by comparison to what it was, and that game came out 4 years ago, relatively recently. Same thing with Horizon, Forbidden West, same thing. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Playland Starfield is a huge unknown, entirely possible.
Because we joke that, you know, it's Fallout in space or whatever, but like, what if they take a similar route to this? What if it's like, it's the formula, but we flipped?
If it's the formula elevated to a new degree, absolutely, it could be the contender. You know, we just kind of look at what they've done recently, and it's like that's not the expectation. But then again, I wouldn't have put that as the expectation for what FromSoft would have done.
Yeah.
No, my expectations, my only expectation going into this game was I just want a game where I can explore and just like have fun playing a hard game. That's all I wanted. I did not expect for the game to be an industry shifting, genre bending game. Like, I did not expect that. This is the game we're going to be talking about for the next decade. Like, oh, Elden Ring did, like, oh, this game took this, like, this game's trying, like, this is that game. Like, it's
this is like the, you know, like the Skyrim of this fucking generation, where it's just going to be the fucking game that will never die, and rightfully so. And it's done stuff that you kind of would have never expected to come from a fucking Dark Souls game. I mean, for the most part.
I want to mention something. So the writing in this game is very good.
And much
Oh yeah.
much better than any of the Souls games has been. Like, the Souls games have, and admittedly, like I said, I didn't play many of them very much, but I am well aware of them and have followed the fandom and the lore of it. And the lore has always kind of been one of the bright spots for the other games. The actual in-game story that you get that is actually voice acted and occurs to you is good and interesting here, which is a very nice upgrade from previous games.
It's really this is why I'm curious how, because a lot of people said I don't think George R. Martin did a lot. I am curious to see how much he was able to do to provide them some template or like some design document, like, hey, this is like how I would approach this, because this isn't FromSoft writing. It's like it's like an elevated thing.
It's very funny because there was that news story where it's like they explicitly weren't telling George R. Martin like what stuff was in the game, where this would occur, what was happening, because they didn't want him to write stuff based off of like contextually what was going on in the game. They just wanted him to design and write stuff. We'll figure it out from there, George.
He could have like we don't know. He could have just wrote dialogue and they just took the and it seems that way because the writing is concise.
It's good.
It has that weird like Dark Souls feeling where it's kind of like whimsical and like mysterious, but it's also saying something, because usually Dark Souls is like has this like just this weird super fluid language that like doesn't make any sense, but it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. But this is like they're saying something. Like there's a story here. The story is fucking cool. The lore is amazing. I like learning about all these characters. Like the first castle, that whole story about the guy grafting body parts onto himself and there being a grafted spider like made out of human body parts from other Tarnish that are coming through this castle, and how there are other people like you and they're losing the ability to see sights of grace. Like they're losing their sight and they're like, I'm jealous of you because you can see it still. It's very interesting. Like I just want more.
It's why I'm here. I mean, it's why I'm in this world. It's what's keeping me there. It's why I bought the game, and I love that it's delivering at every turn. So.
All right, I think we're just about done. But the one thing I did want to also say is that while I'm enjoying my time and I'm probably going to beat it, I like, and as much as I like the exploration parts that we get to do, I think to say that it is perfect the way that it is pretty silly. I think that there is an in-between that was not achieved that would probably make it a little bit better. I think that you can keep the level of exploration and the level of mystery, but not make me keep track of the shit on my own. Like even if it's just a list of people that I met and like it's just an entry that says who they were, and or every time that I get a note from them, it's like there's a piece in my inventory that just says what the note is, so that I don't have to record who gave me what at what time. Not that I don't mind doing it. I did it. It's just that you can keep all the mystery and still provide the player all of the pieces so that they can still put the puzzle together. It's the reason why exploration games for puzzle solving like still work and are still popular, because they do that stuff. But typically they don't make the player also keep track of it on pen and paper. As endearing as that is every now and then, I personally think that there is an in-between that keeps the mystery, with giving the player a little bit more to work with. But
so with me, it doesn't bother me, but I will say stuff like that is interesting to me because I love digging through Wikipedia pages and forums. Like that's like any game I play, I'll start to dig into that stuff. So that's fine to me because it just gives me another thing to do. Like, oh, cool, like this thing I don't know. Time to go to the wiki. Time to go to the Reddit. Time to go to like.
Yeah, so sometimes I really like the mystery of like solving the problem. And the problem with the wiki solution is that sometimes I go past being able to solve the problem on my own, and it just tells me everything about it. And I wanted to do that thing. I just needed the bits and pieces, the evidence there together so that I could have put it together myself. And like I said, it's fine to just also take care of it. I just, there's a middle ground, like I said.
Could you imagine an old school like Prima strategy guide for this fucking thing? Like,
man.
just feel like
be an Encyclopedia Britannica, like a full volume.
Honestly, though, like that is actually like probably the good middle ground of like.
True.
Yeah, I mean, like, I want, a stylized progression guide that doesn't reveal anything to me, but also has like an index that says like, hey, you remember this person? Okay, don't go to page 34 because that's where you met him, and then you go back and you're like, oh yeah, shit. Yeah, that sounds kind of tight.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Morrowind is a game that is notoriously hard to play without a guide. Because that game is also like, hey, there's a dude up there past this street post on the left side of this rock. Like
this dude that you met like 48 hours of playtime ago. You don't remember?
Yeah, no, like I used to buy Prima guides for every game that I got because I just like having that. Yeah. Like The Witcher 3 like has a really good guide, and I refer to it a lot. I would have actually loved that for this game because I wouldn't use the wiki. I wouldn't use anything. I just had that book. I had one for Breath of the Wild as well.
I've got them all for Zelda for various reasons.
Yeah.
Just they look good and they do a
good job. They have the check boxes.
And the Pokemon guides do a pretty good job of like actually like giving you like charts and things.
Look at that. We're back talking about Pokemon again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really, I don't think the resolution, just from a design standpoint, is to put it in the game because I think it would ruin a lot of stuff, at least to me.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want like quest markers. I don't want a quest log. Right. I just want the information bits.
I love a good. I think I said it in the Discord. I love a good UI that knows when to when to go away. Yep. It knows when its presence isn't needed, and this does a good job at knowing when its presence isn't needed.
It would have been cool if this game came with like because it comes with some kind of guide on the PC at least, where it's like, hey, you want to look at this digital guide?
Yeah.
It would have been cool if that was like some like old school NES, like how they had those like old guides where they had important information in there. Yeah. It would have been cool if that's what that was, or like Metal Gear Solid 1, where it's like, do you have the codec page for the guy? Funny story. One time, my brother and I rented that game from Blockbuster, and we had to go back to the store to get the codec number.
They're putting on the back of the case.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Elden Ring.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I mean it's a very busy, large game with a lot to talk about, and I think that in 3 weeks when I actually have a chance to beat it, there's so much to it that I think that the conversation has probably a decent amount left to it.
It's a weekend game. Like I can't play this game on the weekdays because like
I tried this week.
And
it's like because it's like one is like, man, like I'm stressed from work.
Right. Yeah. Like I'm trying to get myself mentally focused. Like so I mean, I've obviously talked about it. I have a kid, and as Dali, you can attest, I get home from work. I was working in the office this week. I get home. By the time it's like, okay, free time, it's after 8 p.m. I have to do my commute in the morning again. So it's like, okay, I have maybe 2 hours, and Elden Ring is the kind of game where it's like, I get in, you reorient yourself, and you're like, shit, where was I? What was I doing?
Yeah.
And then by the time you get moving again, it's like, okay, I have 45 minutes left. What do I do?
If that much. If that
It's like with me, it's like I have a hard time pulling myself away because it's like I want to see
that
is.
too.
Like, yeah, it's
And
like
then-
I'm not gonna play for 2 hours. I'm gonna play for 6. Like that.
Yeah.
That's just how this game is.
Yeah.
So it's a weekend game. Like that's a first for me. Like I've never had a game that's like, yeah, this is a little too much for me. So yeah, it's just kind of fun to have something special on the weekends now.
Definitely. Elden Ring. Yeah, like I said, we'll be talking about that. I'm sure more as we discover more. We get deeper.
Like a
into
month.
It.
Yeah.
It won't be
At
like
least.
me and Octopath Traveler. That's for sure.
No, you'll quit this way before that.
Oh, for sure. No, I think I'm gonna be coming back to this game over time. And what I mean by that is I'll probably play it for a little bit and then pause and go play whatever else and come back to this and pause and play whatever. And I think that's in this. It's rare that I say a game is designed to not have to be finished like right away, like not to have to sit with one playthrough. I think Elden Ring is designed to. It's like just come back whenever you feel like it. Again, I do wish there was some way of knowing exactly where I was and what I was aiming for, but I don't mind like picking this back up in like 2 weeks or a month or in the summer and being like, this is great.
It's a game. Like that's
Yeah.
what it is. Like it's like, hey, here's this toy. You can pick it up and play with it whenever you want. It's not a story game where you need to like, okay, what was happening with Kratos this last hour? Like, it's like just put it down. You can. It's not going to go anywhere.
There are certain games that I put on the TV, and sometimes my wife is like, "I want to watch you play this game." This is not one of them.
Nope. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I've tried to watch like people play like the first parts of this game, and it's just kind of boring to watch other people play this game.
Well, yeah, and especially because like, you know, having played it, I have watched a couple streamers do it, and having gone through it as well, you know, I watched one person where it took them twice as long playthrough time before they got to the castle because they were just like, "Oh, I'm going to explore everything that I can on the map before I go to the castle."
That's the way I usually play. That's me.
and that just wasn't me, and so it was just like really weird. And they're like, "Oh, there was a boss here. Okay, I'm gonna fight this boss until I beat it." And I was like, I fought that boss once, felt very weak, and I was like, "Okay, peace out. I'm not gonna do this." So it's just really, you know. Anyway,
For me, it's usually like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? You know, why can't I beat this boss? Let me try a different thing. Not realizing, oh, I can't beat this boss because I need 50 vitality. You know, 50 more vitality to beat it. But speaking of stories, one of my coworkers I was in a call with him last Friday, late last Friday, and he's like, "Hey, you know, I was actually working on stuff last weekend for the office." And he's like, you got some time this weekend? I'm like, yeah, no worry. I've got my game isn't, you know, I've ordered this video game, so it'll be coming later on. He's a gamer too, and he asked me what game it was. I'm like, it's Elden Ring, you know, like this game. And so I sent him this PowerPoint presentation on Sunday, and he's like, I hope you had an epic time with your video game. I'm like, well, yeah, Elden Ring was pretty epic. Here's my PowerPoint, by the way, which is equally epic. He had gone out and picked up the game on Monday after work and played it all day Monday, all night, all day Tuesday. While he was in the office, he had his headset on and on his TV, you know, TV off to the side, and he's like director level, so I'm calling him out for sure. And I it's pretty funny because like Wednesday morning, I'm in a meeting with him, and he's like, oh, by the way, I've been playing that game, Elden Ring. I'm like, oh, you picked it up? He's like, yeah, I picked it up. I just kept getting slaughtered in that game. That's impossible. I'm like, oh yeah? And he goes, he's like, the best part. He's like, yeah. So then I realized that I could just farm those rune things. He's like, so I've just been killing wolves for like the last 8 hours over and over and over again. I'm like,
somebody tell this man about the boulder.
Yeah, tell about the boulder. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, he's like, is that what this game is? I'm like, you know what? It kind of is. It kind of is this. You just gotta
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing: is that like don't let anybody gatekeep. This game is whatever lets you beat it.
It's whatever you can do.
Dude, no. Hey, here's something. I haven't beat a boss by myself. I always summon a friend. So
I need to do that. I haven't beaten a boss yet. I've only met a couple. Let's move on to one more quick game because we did pass the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, finally we can talk about Kirby.
Let's talk about Kirby. The demo. Zach, you tried the demo.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's not what I want. I don't know if my brain has this rot in it from playing Elden Ring. But I'm like, this is
it literally might be
babies. I don't want this. Like that's what, like, but like I usually am not that type of person. Like I like any type of game. I'll play anything. Like I don't care about difficulty. It's not really something. But like there's just something off about this game. It's like there's something here that's like it just doesn't work for me, and I don't know if it's because I'm coming from Elden Ring, this immaculately designed game, to a Kirby game. It's like, okay, it's fine, but it's like this is kind of bad. Like I don't know what's happening. But yeah, I think the thing that kept pissing me off is like you go to these areas and you have the big like power up, like a big like, oh, you can turn into a cone, you can turn into a vending machine. It's like you walk up to those things and they start flashing bright. Like I'm an idiot. Like I don't know I can use that. Like it's just like, dude, stop. I know. Hold on. I'm going to go look over here first and then I'm going to come back. It's just like it was getting on my nerves. It's just like, yeah, it's just something about it. It reminded me of old Nintendo. Like I wanted it to be a little more not open world, but like hands-offy. It's very hands-on, at least in the tutorial area. I think maybe because it's a tutorial. I don't know. The boss also sucked. But like it's like I don't know. It's a game I'll check out for like $30 maybe. Because I love Kirby. Like I love Kirby games. I love easy going games. I want to do the city building stuff that they have in that game. But yeah, it just feels off. I don't know what it is.
So I had a different reaction in that I've been playing Mario 3D World here and there. It's built in the Mario 3D World engine. At least it appears to be, which I love it for that because Mario 3D World is such a joy of a game. And Kirby's built, it seems like it's built on an engine. It has that feel of levels too, because the levels sort of tunnel you in one direction and then they'll shift another direction and then they'll shift another. It's not like open world where you're running around an area. It's like you got to go straight in this little rail and then you turn right, go this rail. And that's what Mario 3D World was, because it's trying to get you to do sort of this isometric platforming style. It's like Kirby was a platformer, this 2D platforming, very easy game. I've picked up Star Allies over the holidays because it was like $14 or $15. It was on sale somewhere. Babies. And the games for babies. And then I'm like, oh shit, what were other Kirby games like? Every Kirby game I have that I've played, I realized it is a game for babies. They're incredibly easy. I played the games on the NES Super NES Online, super easy. And I thought, wow, I went into this thinking Kirby was somehow going to be, Last of Us
Mario
level. Yeah, exactly. Kirby was going to be like fighting off zombies in Last of Us, but it's still baby, very easy going. It's designed to not necessarily hold your hand, but I can understand the blinking part that you're saying. I think that's just the way Kirby has always been. But at the same time, I think it's designed to be a game for. It's going to be a game for probably like 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds.
Yeah, but I want to play it.
I know. You can still play it. Are you 7, 8, 9, 10? And it's us putting the there's a My Little Pony game that's coming out next month. It's not going to be for you. It's not going to be for me. It's based on a new movie. It's going to be for my kid, for my daughter. But I want to play it. And damn it, if it's not exactly what a 43-year-old man wants, I'm going to be very pissed off. Meanwhile, a 12-year-old girl is going to say, it's a pretty good game. I like it. I like it a lot. Roblox is great, she says. So I went into this thinking, I think it was because of just the stuff that we put into games like this, games like Elden Ring, stuff like the Steam Deck, whatever, where we go into something with these great big expectations, like Pokemon Arceus. We thought it was going to be this massive open world, all this kind of stuff to do. And the companies never say it's going to be a certain thing. They just say, hey, here's the video of what this is. Buy this. And we put all this weight on something. I think when we first saw the Kirby stuff, we thought, oh my God, Kirby, open world. It's humanity's dead. It's what's going on. This is insane. It's going to be finally the first challenging Kirby. It's like, no, dog. It's still baby ass. He just still sucks shit up in his mouth and spits it out, and everybody's happy in the end. That's all Kirby is. That's all he's ever gonna be.
He does more damage without a power too, which is kind of weird.
It is true. But again, I like this demo because once I got to the beginning of it, I'm like, oh, okay, I know what this is. Okay, I get it. It's literally 2D Kirby games in isometric 3D. Okay, I can deal with that. It's not gonna this is a game that's also not gonna. I can't recommend this for everybody, at least based off this demo, because it's baby Kirby. I like it.
Yeah, I just want Kirby 64 2.
Okay.
Because combining powers in that game is really cool.
Yeah. You should play Planet Robobot, whatever that one was called. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah, the Robobot. Yeah.
That was a different type of Kirby. Yeah. But yeah, Kirby. And I played the project or the Triangle strategy game demo. It's a long burn. Even the demos, like the first 3 chapters, that's long. It's long. I ended up picking up the game, so I'm gonna be playing that soon too.
That game is front heavy.
It reminds me of
a 20-minute cutscene. It's like, uh-oh.
It reminds me of games from that era. Which was like, oh shit, they were all like this, weren't they? We had to sit through like 20-minute credit scenes. I'm like, damn it, they made the graphics and the game design to be exactly like those old games. It's like, okay, you didn't have to push the nostalgia button that far, but I picked it up just because I've been hearing good things about it.
I thought the story would at least be like interesting, but it really is
political. It's like this political intrigue of these 3 different nations. To be honest, it reminded me of the Fire Emblem. Well, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, in that was a really long burn before you finally get to like battles, and this is kind of that same way. But
no, it immediately reminds me of Final Fantasy Tactics. That's like the first, and then Final Fantasy 12. Those are the 2 that immediately pop into my head. And
did you see that Final Fantasy 12? Did you play that Final Fantasy 12 Tactics game that they had? What do you think?
The one on DS.
Yeah.
War of.
Was it Revenant Wings or War?
Revenant Wings. Yeah.
Revenant Wings. Yeah.
That one was actually okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like those Tactics Advance games. They were actually okay.
I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance are legit.
Yeah, I was surprised they were legit good games. Yeah.
Marsh is like one of the best Final Fantasy characters. Man.
But anyways, yeah, that's it. That's all we've been playing. I'm sure we'll be playing more. It's just fucking crazy right now with all these GD games, and there's too many to keep up with. And you got Gran Turismo that you're loading up. Next week will be Gran Turismo, Triangle Strategy. I'm sure I'll have more Steam Deck impressions after I've had more time with it and got some of these emulators up and running.
And Ghostwire Tokyo comes out.
Tokyo comes out. Good lord.
That game looks sick as fuck.
I'm literally just going to be providing Elden Ring updates for the next, I think, 4 weeks.
I normally would like buy that game, but I don't think I will until I beat Elden Ring.
Ghostwire?
Yeah, because like I would normally just like kind of move away from a game that I've played for 40 hours. Like normally if I hit that point I haven't beaten a game, I'm like, I'm fine, I'll come back to this later. But this Elden Ring is like, I want to keep playing. I want to keep chipping away the way this. I don't want to really put it on the back burner. And the game is also cool because each time you play it's something new. It feels like a new experience.
Yeah.
But yeah. Ghostwire Tokyo, I'll end up buying though, even though I'm saying I won't. I'm going to buy it.
There's so much this month, and then April is essentially just as packed, even though we don't. I mean, and speaking of packed, there's also PAX, which we'll be at. But April has a ton of fucking games on there too. It's just, it really is kind of insane right now because of COVID and delays. Everything has been delayed in the first half of this year. These first 4 months have been, the first 2 months nuts. These next 2 months are going to be equally as nuts. And then whatever E3, if there's an E3, whatever that's going to be in June, we'll see. But yeah, it's, if you're into gaming, you better have a pretty deep wallet right now. If you want to try even a small percentage of the things out there, because there's just too much. But that's it. We'll discuss more over the next few weeks.
Guys.
We gotta go. Everyone's tired.
I'm exhausted. I'm hungry.
Yeah. Now this is what it was like when see, JJ, you're exhausted right now, but it took almost the exact same amount of time when we went over the magazines. So we should start the magazine right now.
At least I was freshly rested then.
Yeah, we're all tired.
My dog hadn't died yet by that point. So
we'll figure out how to get this down to a smaller size of podcast. But until
not talk about two things at once.
Not talk about two major things at once. Until then,
just don't talk about Steam Deck for 45 minutes. It made me want to run away.
You guys kept asking questions or telling me I was wrong, so I had to
we only asked questions after your diatribe, all right, bud.
With that said, at OKQuest, you can find Zach there. At _double_J, Mr. Windjammer Game of the Year. Listen, we've already had our 2 Game of the Years out there. It's gonna be battling,
Yeah, Elden Ring and Windjammers 2 are neck and neck, and it's it's gonna be difficult, but I think we'll all come to the right decision.
Taylor at Taylor Bliss.
That's me.
Let's see, and then me, Dali. I will say one thing though. I have finally activated all of those Steam keys that I've been buying from Humble Bundles over the years, just to see if something works on the Steam Deck. So, if anything, I now own the ownership of games that I have has consistently grown over the last
thank God! I was worried that you were running out of games, Dali.
Running out of games to play, Dali, of course. With that said, we'll see you all in the next episode of the SideQuest. Bye bye. Thank you, all the watchers and all that fun stuff. See you guys.